Our next guest is a true power player on TV. Tony Goldwyn runs the White House as President Grant on ABC's hit series Scandal. But now he's running the show for a new look at the justice system. Goldwyn's a creative force behind WeTV's first scripted series, The Divide. Antonio Mora recently sat down with Tony Goldwyn. But first, let's check out a clip from his new show.
Get out of here. Stay out of this. And stay away from my mother.
The DNA sample. It'll take less than 20 seconds.
What do you care?
Look, I don't know you at all. And maybe you're a complete scumbag. You want to die? That's your right. But I don't like it when the law gets manipulated by people who think they matter more than other people. Like my father, like you. I hate their arrogance. I hate they feel safe. I hate they feel entitled to feel safe. I want to make them sweat. Even if they win. Don't you?
The Divide premieres this Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern on WeTV. Tony Goldwyn is the show's creator, executive producer, and he's also directing a bunch of the episodes. But you know him best on TV's Scandal. Great to see you here.
Great to see you.
You are a very busy guy. President of the United States part of the time. You just got reelected. Congratulations.
That's right. Thank you very much.
You played a really nasty character recently in a Lifetime movie, Warren Jeffs.
I played Warren Jeffs in Outlaw Prophet.
Yeah, that was a very you played some bad characters in your time.
Disturbing project. Yeah, I have. I find dark people very interesting.
But it's interesting, so you're not a typical scary guy.
No,
so
but I think that's maybe sometimes why it's interesting to cast me in those parts. You know,
against type.
To find the opposite sort of facets of very twisted characters.
And so now you're involved in this this new show, which will be the first scripted show for WeTV.
That's right.
Watch the first episode. Terrific first episode.
Thank you.
And it's all based on the Innocence Project, which was founded by Barry Scheck and Peter Neufeld.
Correct.
Which has done an incredible job at freeing people using DNA. Why did you decide that this was something you wanted to do? Why did you want to focus on this issue?
Well, I made a film a couple of years ago. It came out in 2010 called Conviction. Right. I directed and produced it, and it was with Hilary Swank and Sam Rockwell, and it was a true story about an Innocence Project case where a man, spent 18 years in prison for a murder he didn't commit, and his sister, who was uneducated and poor, became an attorney just to try and find a way to get him out, and with the help of the Innocence Project and DNA evidence that she found, she got him exonerated after 18 years. So I got very close to her and to and Barry Scheck and Peter Neufeld, and got absolutely fascinated with the Innocence Project and very moved by the work they do in every story of all of their cases, and thought, these stories need to get out there, and I wanted to help shine a light on the work that they're doing. But they're so dramatic, and at the end of the day, what I do for a living is to try and tell great stories. So the bonus is when you can shine a light on an important social issue like reforming our justice system.
Right, that is full of great stories. In this case.
That's right. So
and The Divide really has some shades of conviction in it. Certainly I can see how some of that carried over into this show. But again, and you're involved with the Innocence Project, I know, actively.
Yeah, I support them as much as I can, and involved by telling stories like The Divide and Conviction, and I'm on, they have a committee of artists who support them, and John Grisham and I are the sort of co-chairs of that committee, and I just do whatever I can.
And they really need help, because you're talking about, from what I've read, they're getting 3,000 calls a year from prisoners asking for help. They've got a 6,000 plus backlog of cases. And the reality is DNA has been incredibly effective at exonerating a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, and the truth is, I don't know if you saw a month or two ago this study by the National Academy of Sciences, which did a detailed analysis, and forgive me if my number's wrong, but it's something like 10 to 15% of people that are incarcerated are innocent of the crimes they're incarcerated for, and then on death row the number is something like 4% or 5%. That's
a lot of people that are getting
that fall through the cracks in the system for various reasons. So the Innocence Project, in addition to exonerating people on DNA evidence, is making Barry and Peter and their connected organizations are doing a lot to reform the cracks in the justice system so that people don't go to jail wrongfully in the first place.
Yeah, and not only are they freeing a lot of those people who went to jail wrongfully in the first place, they're also, in many of those cases they're taking, the DNA then ends up convicting people who were the real criminals. Well, so it's a double effect, a double positive from
this just happened in Louisiana. A guy was just freed after 17 years in prison. The prosecutors thankfully agreed to retest some DNA evidence after 17 years on a rape charge, and it was an attempted rape charge, and they not only found out that he was innocent, that pointed through the DNA database, which the Innocence Project helped make happen nationally, they found the guy who actually did do it and was in fact in prison already for another crime.
And so The Divide isn't just a legal TV series. You're really focusing on the characters and how the system affects the people.
Yeah, what the show is really about is it sort of centers on one case where the DA of Philadelphia made his career on this big racially charged capital murder case. And just as one of the two guys in prison are about to be executed, a young woman from the Innocence Project uncovers a piece of evidence that starts to unravel this whole thing. And what we look at is the way that a crime destabilizes and derails the lives of so many people involved in it. The DA, his whole family, his whole reputation, this young woman and her stake in it, the surviving victims of the crime, the potentially innocent convicts, you know, and then all the gray areas they're in, where there's not a polemic of look at the injustice in our system. It's really look at the gray areas, and then it extends to our, you know, institutional morality and our very personal morality, how we look at this, where we are in our own lives, you know.
And it's really compelling. It really draws you in. So I suspect it's going to be very successful. Before you go, I got to talk to you about being the President of the United States. You have always been involved politically. I know you were a former president of the Creative Coalition.
That's right.
And so it's something you've always been interested in. I guess this has led you to be more involved in Washington politics and actually met the President of the United States.
Yeah, it's just fascinating. I mean, as you say, I've always been a political junkie and had been to Washington, and I had played many parts now in the White House. I've been a chief of staff, I've been a press secretary, I've been a special advisor to the president. So now I get to be the man himself. So then, yeah, this year at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, I had the privilege of meeting President Obama, and it was surreal.
How was the experience?
It was thrilling. You know, it was surreal. That was the best way to describe it. You know, when you walk up to him and he says, "Hello, Mr. President."
He said that to you?
Yeah. Or going on a tour of the White House and having people go, "The president's here." And I'm looking around thinking, he is? Really?
They're talking about you.
They're talking about me.
Well, congratulations on The Divide. Congratulations on Scandal and everything else you have going on. You're a busy man. Good to see you.
Thanks you. Thanks for having me on.
And again, The Divide premieres this Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern on WE TV.